Hello, everybody.
Howdy.
I love it that everybody is doing research and investigations, and thank you for sharing this information with us.
Yeah, it's I won't say it's long overdue, but this is a lot of stuff that Kim and I have researched in the past 6 years. A lot of this stuff we are very well acquainted with. You know, many of you have seen me from time to time, hold up the Interpreter's Bible Dictionary, where it's got a wealth of information about the Bible, some of the Israelite practices, and just exactly what they were doing back then. It's just interesting to see that a lot of this stuff is really coming forward because many of you are just not sitting down taking somebody's word for it. You're actually sitting down and investigating it yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So this comes from Greg, and I'm going to mostly just be presenting his information here and reading his email. So thank you, Greg. And some of this stuff we've covered basically in years past, and anyway, we'll get to that. So warning, it may trigger some of you because this is going to be I'm going to be reading some graphic stuff from Watchtower Literature and some university books that may trigger you and upset you. And I know this all upset Greg. So, just a warning that this is going to be a graphic, frank discussion about child abuse and child sacrifice, because this is part of it. We've done child abuse, and this is part of it.
Yeah, and it just shows absolutely how ingrained this is in some circles as it pertains to the human psyche. It's that ingrained, and it's all throughout human history. Even the Israelites practiced human sacrificing. I know a lot of people don't want to admit that, but that is the facts of the matter.
Well, it's interesting because so many have criticized Mike for talk about, child sacrifice and human sacrificing now in Watchtower with their blood policy. And it was interesting because somebody sent me a link to a tweet on Twitter. That's a tongue twister. A tweet on Twitter where someone says another, child sacrifice, and it was a story about a Jehovah's Witness couple that just allowed their little boy to die for, by refusing a blood transfusion. So, that's what we've just tried to do, is just bring awareness that this is what is going on.
Well, it just comes down to that when you accept that free home Bible study from the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses, you don't have a clue. You don't have a clue what you're getting involved with any more than we did. And fortunately, we were never put in a position where we had to let our child die over over what is nothing more than a BS corporation policy.
Yeah, and I don't think I would have ever, refused her a blood transfusion if she would have needed it.
Would have been a tough choice.
Yeah. Okay, so he goes, hello, Kim and Mike. I hope that what I have to share here is not triggering either of you. This is what we deal with every day. And it usually does, but we try to be strong. While part of me is very afraid to share, another part of me is so disgusted and so angry that I can't keep it to myself. And I really hope you can hear the many tears falling from my face as I write this. Well, we appreciate you sharing this with us. Have you seen this YouTube video? Now, I'm going to play a clip. This is from Stacy Lopez when she was in a Kingdom Hall.
It's not a sin against Jehovah. It's a crime against a child.
We're asking you to leave.
Pedophiles cannot be rehabilitated.
You to leave now.
Please, if you're a victim,
right now you will leave, or the police will. Right now. Out.
How can I get out?
Come on, follow me. You are leaving. You are leaving now. Now, please.
Don't touch me.
Okay, then follow me. or the police will be called.
Please call the
Now.
police on your, if you are a victim of
Your
sex
invitation is
abuse,
revoked.
please.
Now. Please.
Please go to the police or they will continue to abuse the
Keep walking,
children
please. Keep walking.
in your very
Keep
Kingdom
walking.
Hall.
Keep walking.
There has been abuse. Don't touch me.
Out. Now.
You're clapping and you're protecting pedophiles in
Keep
this
walking.
Kingdom Hall.
Please.
There are pedophiles these men very likely have offended. Please go to the police. This is disgusting.
Please keep walking.
Shame on all of you.
Please keep walking. Just keep, this is a public
Children,
place.
you can get out.
Please.
Look at these people clapping.
Please keep walking.
Get out of my
Out.
face.
Please keep walking.
I will
If
continue to
you will
walk.
walk, you will not have a problem.
You
Please
out of my
walk.
face.
Please walk.
JWFacts.com.
Please walk.
Y'all don't have to do this alone.
Please.
Get out of my face.
Please walk.
And he says it was when she had attended the Watchtower study article on child abuse, and he says it's a long and painful video, and at about 1 hour and 42 minutes during the review questions, Stacy speaks up about child abuse, like you saw, and the audience claps while she is silenced and bullied by the shoving leopards. Oops, I meant loving shepherds. And this is the thing, is, you know, they try to shut the victims up.
Well, there again, they simply don't know because they never researched the issue. And that's why, you know, with some of the stuff that I've been doing about the Bible, why we face so much criticism from the Bible bullies, because they themselves do not research the issue.
Well, they just research what they want to.
They research what is okay in their own mind. They won't look at the other side of the coin and see the death-dealing consequences of all of this.
Yeah.
Because once you do that, then you have to recognize, oh my God, I left one cult and joined another one. Because you didn't give yourself time to deprogram.
Yeah. Speaking of Bible bullies, I have a correction to make. The guy that attacked me with the emails, apparently he's not a Watchtower agent. He's just a Bible bully.
To me, they're all one and the same.
Yeah.
They're all one and the same.
Yeah. Let's see. 3 weeks and no apology yet. I digress. All right, back to Greg's email here. Now, Wikipedia has an article on Molech, which talks about the ancient peoples and the silencing of their child sacrifice victims. Now, as it happens, our dear friend Bonnie, hi sweetie, she had told me about a book about Molech. We had this discussion about Molech. And I ended up sending away through our library to a university in Texas. They had a copy. This is a book that was done by the University of Cambridge, Oriental Publications number 41. And it's called Molech, a God of Human Sacrifice in the Old Testament by John Day. I went through a lot of hoops to get this book. So I have this now, but it's really good because in the summary on page 89, in the appendix, let's see, the fourth paragraph down, I'm going to read this because it's the same thing that Greg has quoted here in the Wikipedia. And I know some, feel that Wikipedia is not the best resource. So that's why I'm reading it directly from this book.
But it also has to be acknowledged, because Kim and I watch a lot of other YouTubers that have nothing to do with Watchtower and things like this. They just simply do other research with a lot of different subjects. And it's beginning to become known that Wikipedia right now is getting better with their explanations. They're not letting as many people go in and change what they want on certain subjects. So Wikipedia appears to be gaining a little bit more recognition as a somewhat reliable source, but credibility. But it's good that we have this book now because we can quote directly from the book and not Wikipedia.
Yeah, but I mean, it does say the same thing on Wikipedia. So I can say what he quotes here on the Wikipedia under Molech, the Carthaginian Cronus, is true, because it is right in this book that I have from the University of Cambridge. Okay, changed in form is the son beloved of his father, so pious, who on the altar lays him and slays him. What folly. So that's a quote. So the paragraph right underneath, it says, no, but with the full knowledge and understanding, they themselves offered up their own children, and those who had no children would buy little ones from poor people and cut their throats as if they were so many lambs or young birds. Meanwhile, the mother stood by without a tear or moan, but should she utter a single moan or let fall a single tear, she had to forfeit the money, and her child was sacrificed nevertheless. And the whole area before the statue was filled with a loud noise of flutes and drums, so that the cries of the wailing should not reach the ears of the people. So he's making a comparison between what they did when they sacrificed these children to their god Molech, and what these congregations, what these Jehovah's Witnesses, and I did a video about the Mormon Church doing the same thing to two moms, that their kids had been abused, and they were trying to let the congregation know that they had a pedophile right in their congregation, and they started singing, you know, I love Jesus in the Mormon Church. You know, so we see
It's the same thing.
It's the same
It's the
thing.
same thing. Only ignorance prevents you from acknowledging that.
yeah.
Because people today think that we are a modern people. We're more informed than those ancient people. Like hell.
No.
Like hell. We're no different.
It's the same.
It's the same thing. Only the circumstances appear to have changed, but they haven't.
Yeah, in fact, an elder's wife just told me this morning that her husband, an elder, believes that it's just an isolated case of a child abuse case here and there. An isolated case. If it was an isolated case, then why did the Watchtower of May 2019 study article do an article on child abuse and call it a plague? Why? If this is just an isolated case here and there, why is it a plague?
See, and there again, when what Kim's reading about making the noise, beating the drums and everything else, think about Jephthah's daughter came out doing what? Playing the tambourine, shaking the tambourine. Well, if you've got 100 tambourine shakers, you're not going to hear the scream of the dying victim.
So this is what Greg says about, you know, this. So with this video, you have people claiming to abhor child abuse, but who demonstrate that the only part of it they really hate are the screams of the victims. And
right.
that's it. They try to shut up all of the victims. And so they beat their own drums or clapping hands to drown out the screams of their victims, that their hearts may not be moved, and so that parents will not let drop a single tear. And isn't that true? And he says, I'm so repulsed by this, and I just can't stay silent. This angers me like nothing else. Then he says, changing gears slightly, one other video that I find almost equally disturbing is found here. Now, it takes you, he has a link here to another YouTuber, and Greg says, in the first part of this video, there are screenshots of the 1963 Watchtower article encouraging parents to spank and hit and beat their children in the name of God. The article even includes a picture of how to spank properly, lest anyone might not yet know how to do it. Well, we just happen to have the Bond volume. And it's the August 15th, 1963 Watchtower. The name of the article is Each One Will Render an Account. Page 497. Now, many of you know who have been with this channel know that, you know, my father beat me when I was a child. So this kind of hits close to home with me. And I find this very disturbing. So it's not only, as you can see, a picture of a father, you know, spanking his kid, but I just want to read a few things. Here on paragraph 7, about halfway down. Well, actually, I'll just start at the beginning of the paragraph. If parents are to render a good account to God for the way they bring up their children, they must apply Jehovah's discipline in love, but with firmness. And we can see this is the same exact thing with the shunning policy. This is discipline from Jehovah. So it hurts like hell, but you need it. This calls for a positive discipline, not a lazy kind in which parents bribe their children into good behavior. Firm discipline means that there will be no parental pussyfooting. I can't believe they use that word in a Watchtower article.
It's just the ignorance. It just shows how ignorant God's chosen people today are, aka Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, so think about all of, not only the children who have done something bad, like little Caleb, but also think about all of us who've been crying out against the shunning policy. This is how Watchtower feels, guys. This is exactly how they feel about all of this. The child needs to know what his parents stand for and that they cannot be shaken from Jehovah's principles by any amount of arguing, wheedling, or crying. Though firm, Jehovah's discipline is applied in love so that it is consistent, reasonable, and righteous. I call BS on that. Now, going over to the disturbing one, paragraph 8. All children of Adam need correction, and at times firm discipline requires the rod in the administration of pain. And then they quote Proverbs 22:15. Foolishness is tied up with the heart of a boy. The rod of discipline is what will remove it far from him. Jehovah's discipline is thus not a watered-down discipline such as that advised by some worldly authorities who would always hold back the rod, but the literal rod is what is basically meant at Proverbs 23:13 and 14. And then they quote that, and with the rod you yourself should beat him, that you may deliver his very soul from Sheol itself. At times, then, a parent will need to speak to the child by the administration of pain. This pain, God's word assures us, is not going to kill the child, but will have beneficial effects, protective benefits for the child, protecting his very soul from Sheol. Okay, that reminds me of two things. How is this beneficial? Because, and will not kill the child? What about all those who have committed suicide because of the shunning policy?
Well, how about that idiot Jeffrey Jackson under testimony saying something to the effect, well, we don't, we abhor capital corporal punishment, or however it was that idiot worded that.
Well, why don't we just play that clip?
You've got the Bible there. If you go to 1 Timothy chapter 3,
yes,
verse 4, there's a discussion of a man presiding over his household, having his children in subjection. Now, what does that mean?
That's a very good question, Your Honour. Biblically speaking, the word subjection infers respect and a willingness to comply with direction. It does not...
Your Bible then provides a reference back to Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4.
That is correct.
Which imposes the obligation on fathers to bring their children up in the discipline and admonition of Jehovah. What's the discipline of Jehovah?
So, Your Honour, the original language word that discipline, it indicates a process of teaching, educating, making a disciple.
Well, from that reference in Ephesians, your Bible takes us back to Proverbs chapter 13, verse 24.
Proverbs 13:24, yes.
And the exact quote is, whoever holds back his rod hates his son. What does that mean?
So, Your Honour, you'll notice there's an asterisk there on the term rod, and you see the footnote, discipline or punishment. So, in the application of this, the term rod is used as a symbol or a metaphor to indicate the authority to give some punishment. For example, in a modern day setting, my father could say to me, I don't go to the movies because I had broken some of the rules of the home.
So it's not about inflicting corporal punishment then?
It absolutely is not about inflicting corporal punishment.
It would have been when first written, wouldn't it?
How people applied it back then at that time, of course, is open to question.
Well, what you're telling me, as I understand it, is that your religion, your church, is prepared to interpret the Bible having regard to contemporary social attitudes and standards. Is that right?
Obviously, Your Honour, we need to take that into consideration, but the primary responsibility we have is to think, what does Jehovah God mean by this? And we look at other scriptures. One of the problems that many folk have when they read the Bible is they take one verse and they assume it means something out of context or not in reference to other scriptures. So for our understanding, Jehovah has said that children should be raised in a loving environment. Jesus was raised in such an environment.
So, you know, even if their policies have changed, you know, when Jeffrey Jackson did that testimony, we can see, though, that they're just trying to cover their backsides
That's all they're doing.
Appear to these wonderful, you know, Christian people. This is what they present to the world while they're beating their kids behind closed doors. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Now, going on with the video that he had sent me, he says, in the second part, an extremely young boy, perhaps 5 or 6 years old, reads a Bible passage from the platform. He reads about rape and plotting and revenge and even the hanging of Haman. Moreover, he is praised by the school overseer afterwards for already having fantastic sense stress in his reading. Yes, you can hear in this youngster's voice that the parents have already done a fantastic job of indoctrinating this young boy and of normalizing violence, superiority, judgmental attitudes, and hateful speech. He says, I only wish the video did not have the added background music track. And that's why I'm not mentioning the YouTuber who does these videos, because he does some great videos, but unfortunately the music is so loud in the background, you know, we can't hear what is being said.
Yeah, I quit watching them a long time ago because the music's so damn loud that the music drowns out what the YouTuber's saying. So, quite honestly, friends, quite honestly, and I'm being honest here, if you're an ex-Jehovah's Witness YouTuber that's putting loud music so that us older folks hear the message, it becomes pointless.
Yeah.
It becomes pointless. Your message is being drowned out. Now, if I feel about that, how many waking up Jehovah's Witnesses are also missing your point?
Yeah, exactly. Because as we get older, you know, we can't separate the two sounds as well as the younger ones. So all we hear is the music drowning out everything.
In your video immediately gets turned off.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not speaking about one YouTuber in particular,
Many of them.
but there's one in particular that's very, very loud, and it borders the line of being obnoxious.
Yeah. Well, there's several, you know, that have sent us, you know, links to their YouTube videos, and it's like, I'm sorry, guys. You know, I don't mean to be critical, but we just have to shut it off because we cannot hear it, what is being said, because of the music.
Exactly right.
Yeah. But I have the video. It's been in the Beast since 2014. And it was actually a 3.5-year-old, and he was reading from the book of Esther. So let's play that clip.
My own soul at my petition, and my people at my request. For we have been sold, I and my people, to be annihilated, killed, and destroyed. Now, if we have been sold for mere manslaves and for mere maidservants, I should have kept silent. But the distress is not appropriate when, with damage to the king, King Ahasuerus now said, yes, he went on to say to Esther the queen, who is this unjust? Where is the one who has emboldened himself to do that way? Then Esther said, the man, the adversary army, is this bad, Haman. And as for Haman, he became terrified because of the king and the queen. As for the king, he rose up in his rage from the banquet of wine to go to the garden of the palace. And Haman himself stood up to make request for his soul from Esther the queen. For he saw that bad had been determined against him by the king. And the king himself returned from the garden of the palace to the house of the wine banquet. And Haman was fallen upon the couch on which Esther was. Consequently, the king said, is also to be a raping of the queen with me in the house? The word.
So this is disturbing because he's absolutely right. He's reading passages in the video that we did on our first channel, I believe, because I couldn't find it on our current channel. So I think it was on our first channel. We had done a video about this young boy, and we had said, how inappropriate. Mike had even mentioned, as a ministerial servant doing talk slips, you check the the material that you're assigning to this ministry school student to make sure it is age appropriate. You don't assign the Bible reading of Esther, the rape of the queen and this hanging to a 3.5-year-old.
Well, here's the problem with this. Why does Watchtower assign it at all? Think about that, because that theocratic ministry school assignment back then, we know that's all changed now, but back then, why was Watchtower even assigning this stuff? Nobody stops to think about that, friends. Nobody does. Because, well, you're all lulled into a mindset of euphoria. Oh, isn't it loving on Jehovah's part that these brothers in Bethel have assigned these wonderful Bible passages? I am so glad that I'm in a covenant relationship with Jehovah, because Jehovah loves us. And you have not a clue, biblically or scripturally, anything about a covenant God that the Israelites also worshipped. Not a clue. But you know what, friends? I do, because I have the Interpreter's Bible Dictionary. I understand Baal Berith, as it's mentioned in Judges 9:4. I understand what's going on. But the poor Jehovah's Witness sitting in that Kingdom Hall is absolutely clueless because they think they're in the same covenant relationship that Moses indoctrinated the Israelites with way back then. Don't have a clue.
I love Greg's closing comment. He says, I deeply appreciate your work, and I also appreciate the opportunity to express my disgust and revulsion to you. I will not suppress my tears, nor be guilty of consent by silence.
That's right.
And that is a good thing that all of us need to remember. And that's why we do these videos, speaking out against all of this, horrific thing that is being done. Now, for those of you who haven't seen our interview with Sam Young yet that we put up last Monday, please go watch it, because Here is another person that was speaking out about the child abuse that was being done in the Mormon church, and these interviews that these kids have with the bishop, and they're asked these sexually explicit questions. All he did was just try to get them to change their policy on this. And what did they do? There again, they silenced the person speaking out against these child abuse, victims. And see, some of the pedophile bishops were using these interviews as a chance to groom the children and molest them.
See, so in a very metaphoric sense, the voice that's drowning out those that are shouting out the warnings against this abuse, your voice now becomes the tambourine, your voice now becomes the drums, and whatever else was read earlier, anything, and clapping. You guys, this is a disgusting thing that is associated with this Bible. It's disgusting. And it's about time all of this stuff truly comes to the forefront. So keep up your studying and keep up your research, because you're now going to really understand the depth of the evil that these cults perpetrate among humans.
So getting back, because we almost forgot, we want to thank Dr. Richmond, who called yesterday. Thank you, sweetie, for letting us know. And before I get into this information he shared, I just want to say, Rosalinda, we're so sorry, to hear about all of your cancer surgeries and that you're going through chemotherapy again. So our thoughts and prayers are with you.
Shout out to you.
Yes, and please take care of yourself, sweetie. Okay, so back to this. This is from the December 2019 Watchtower. Page 30, do you remember? Can you answer these questions based on the Watchtower of 2019? When you go down to the fourth one, how serious is child abuse? Child abuse is a sin against the victim, the congregation, secular authorities, and God. Didn't we just read something about firm discipline?
Mm-hmm.
How come the pedophiles don't get this firm discipline? Where secular law calls for reporting allegations of abuse, elders comply. Sounds like it's cut and dried. See, where secular laws call for reporting allegations of child abuse, what about the moral responsibility for protecting the children?
Well, forget about that. How many Jehovah's Witnesses are going to read this and they're not going to remember what Watchtower really said in that Watchtower article?
Yeah. So they have the 2019 Watchtower May quoted here, pages 9-10. Actually, it's paragraph 9-10, because pages would be PG.
Right.
This is PP, so that's paragraphs 9-10. Well, when you go to paragraphs 9 and 10, it says nothing about elders reporting. It's actually paragraph 13. And it says, do elders comply with secular laws about reporting an allegation of child abuse to the secular authorities? Yes!
No!
In places where such laws exist, elders endeavor to comply with secular laws.
You see the little word change? Because they're not going to let the Jehovah Witness reading that last article, can you answer these questions based on the Watchtower 2019? They know that Jehovah Witness that studied this is not going to remember that they use the word endeavor to comply.
So we're just going to go to the dictionary and look up the definition of endeavor, because they're using this as a verb in the sentence. So let's look up endeavor as a verb. Definition of endeavor: to attempt something, such as the fulfillment of an obligation by exertion of effort. The attempt of something? Definition.
That's like, you hearing a case of child abuse and you quick dial 911, oh, it's busy, or quick dial the sheriff's department, oh, It's busy. Well, I endeavored to make an attempt,
Yeah.
but the lines were busy.
The second definition, archaic, to strive to achieve or reach. So they're going to try to comply, you know, to report
Right.
these. Yeah, we believe that, don't we?
It's all a play on words with this organization.
Yes. Now, I got an email from a dear friend, Esther. Thank you so much, sweetie. Love to both of you. And she had mentioned the video I did, what was it, yesterday, the day before, about, you know, Watchtower, and they're saying that, you know, they're going to protect pedophiles. It's just putting a call out to predators everywhere. Hey, come join Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
Come join our organization because we'll protect you and we'll even destroy the evidence.
We'll endeavor not to let you get caught.
Yeah. So anyway, she wrote a blog, and I'm going to put the link down below. It's called My Journey Out of Babylon. Silence the Voice of Complicity. Watchtower enables predatory behavior.
That's right.
And she said this is from a woman's point of view, because everything, you know, up till now has been a man's point of view. You know, the Elders Manual, you know, this Watchtower article, oh, well, the elders will endeavor to comply. So she has written an incredible, you know, article here about a woman's point of view about this. So I encourage everybody to go read it. And like I said, I'm going to put, you know, the link down below. Yeah, because like she says, elders are ordered to turn against child victims. And we've seen this even in the Australian Commission, where, you know, evidence was brought forward that, you know, they make it the child's fault.
Right.
Oh, well, you seduced him. Yeah, how can a small child seduce an adult unless they're a pervert?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless they're sick in the head, unless there's some sort of messaging going on that you just don't see as plain as the nose on anybody's face.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how they manipulate people. Without even saying a word, they can get you to do something, or maybe presumably throw somebody under the bus without seeing what you're really doing.
But, you know, when you see images like this in Watchtower literature, and we covered this in our subliminal images, you know, what is this putting into the mind of the Jehovah's Witnesses? You gotta ask.
Well, that's why I did a lot of study and research about the mental effects of this stuff. Even though you don't blatantly see it, your mind is still registering in the deepest, darkest corners of your mind. It's still there. Oh, that's what you call deja vu. I don't know where I've seen this, but somewhere I know I've seen this before. It's all tied in, guys.
Why do I have this obsession with porn, some might say?
Yeah.
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 Maybe because you're getting these subliminal images.
Because you're getting these images implanted in your mind without you even being aware of it.
And along those lines, we watched a video last night by Jude 3 and Laura 2. And oh my goodness, talk about hitting close to home. He just found out that the brother of the wife of his brother, so it would be like his sister-in-law's brother, was just arrested for, you know, child pornography and child abuse.
It's
Good, JW.
everywhere. Inside of Watchtower, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to be able to escape this sooner or later. I mean, I've got cousins in my own family that were abused by their stepdad. He was never a JW, and whether the elders were aware of it, that I don't know, but I do know that my cousins, as adult people, are hurt by this.
Yeah.
They're absolutely hurt by it.
Yeah. And, you know.
And unfortunately I can't talk to them because now I'm a raging, apostate, and I'm disfellowshipped, so they're never going to reach out unless they themselves at one point wake up, and then they'll reach out.
Well, isn't it interesting that your cousin Phil, when he got disfellowshipped for drinking and threatening an elder,
It was a little more than just drinking. He was stepping out on his wife.
well, that too. But when he was disfellowshipped, we were JWs, he would still call us and we would talk to him. But yet now when we're disfellowshipped and he's back, you know, reinstated in good standing, we call him and won't even answer the phone. Won't even answer emails. Like, wow, what a freaking hypocrite.
Yeah, that's the mind screw that is Watchtower.
It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
That's all there is. So thank you everybody for watching, and my goodness, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you everybody for sending us your research and information. We appreciate it. But thank you everybody for your emails. I appreciate it. And I was very happy to discover that the emails that I had gotten through our Watchtower.exposed website is not missing. They are in my inbox, and I'm going through those now. So be assured that, you know, hopefully I have all of your emails. So thank you for watching, everybody, and we hope you have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.